Hello, welcome to my channel, developers and Web3 enthusiasts. Follow me on this exciting journey into the world of Web3 development. In this video, we'll delve into the fascinating realm of decentralized applications and explore the tools, frameworks, and languages that will help you build your decentralized applications and a decentralized future. So join me on this one. If you don't know, this is Inside the App. Here we try to help you become an expert in Web3 development. So if you're excited about this and would like to know more, I'd encourage you to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and share so that your friends can also benefit from this. So to kick off, let us understand the concept of DApp development. Imagine applications that run on a decentralized network, leveraging the power of blockchain technology without relying on a central server. This paradigm shift introduces security, transparency, immutability, and trust like never before. But how do developers create these innovative decentralized applications, if I may ask? We'll take a look at some essential DApp development tools that they employ. So as you can see on my screen, I have Solidity, which is the first smart contract language that you need to take note of. On the Ethereum technology, by Ethereum technology, I mean blockchains that adopt Ethereum. They include Ethereum mainnet itself, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, and the list goes on. So Solidity is a high-level programming language used for developing and deploying smart contracts on EVM networks. It is highly used and highly tested, and it's really tested and trusted with regards to smart contract on EVM network. Solidity also shares the same syntax with the likes of C++, Python, and JavaScript. So there are so many projects leveraging on Solidity. Some of them include Uniswap, Aave, Compound, and the list goes on. So it's very popular, and it's a smart contract programming language that you can use as a blockchain developer while developing across multiple networks. The next tool I have for you is Vyper, which is a smart contract programming language like Solidity. But Vyper is different. It has its own syntax. It looks more like Python. So developers who have Python background mostly use Vypers. One project that uses Vyper on the main network is Curve Finance. So Curve Finance is one of the biggest protocols leveraging on Vyper. Vyper is also popular, but it has a smaller community as compared to Solidity. Now to frameworks, we have Truffle, which is a smart contract development framework. With Truffle, developers can be able to compile their code, they can be able to test, they can debug, and also they can deploy smart contracts across multiple EVM networks and test networks as well. Truffle also gives you addresses, local addresses, and public keys that you can use to perform. It also provides you a local development blockchain in Ganache. Simulate and carry out experiments just before you hit the main network or public network. Another framework I'd like you to know about is Hardhat. Hardhat is one of the most popularly used frameworks in developing smart contracts. So with Hardhat, you can write, you can compile, you can test, you can deploy, and you can also interact with smart contracts that have been deployed on public networks, same as Truffle does. It also provides a local blockchain in Ganache for you to make simulations in and carry out all sorts of tests. So it is why with Truffle, you need to write your unit tests using JavaScript or TypeScript, and also the same thing applies for Truffle. So they are really highly used, and I recommend you to try them. Another development framework is So just like Truffle and Hardhat, Brownie is a framework that enables you to write, create, test, and deploy smart contracts, and as well interact with smart contracts that have been deployed to public networks. The only thing is with Brownie, when you're working with Brownie to conduct and write your unit tests using Python. So Brownie is mainly used by Python developers who understand the ecosystem of Python. Another important framework to take note of is Foundry. So Foundry is very important because it really encourages Solidity developers to be Solidity developers. So this is how I mean. With Foundry, you'll be able to write your unit tests and do all kinds of tests, not just creating a smart contract, but you'll be able to write your unit tests in Solidity as well, rather than writing your unit tests in JavaScript or Python or the programming language supported by whichever framework you may be using. So Foundry is really a very good tool to use if you're a sole Solidity developer. Then you would have to do all your development and write all your programs in Solidity, which is the base language for developing smart contracts. Many developers find this very useful because with this, it reduces the turnaround time required for you to set up your environment for unit testing. So Foundry is really important. Another important thing with Foundry is that it introduces what they call So with Fusion, you'll be able to test out multiple cases of a smart contract, and you'll be able to detect easily if there's any potential vulnerability on the smart contracts you're working on using Foundry. So you may already know Visual Studio Code because it's highly popular and used by so many developers building on different. So you need Visual Studio Code or any other code editor of your choice to work with Truffle, Hardhat, because you would need to install them and use them in a code editor of your choice. And Visual Studio, one of the most highly used code editors by DApp build. Another framework to keep in mind is Remix. So Remix is a web-based IDE. With Remix, you don't need to install packages like Truffle, Hardhat, or where you can simply write your smart contracts on its web-based IDE. You can compile them, deploy them, and as well. Another good thing with Remix is you'll be able to interact with already deployed smart contracts on the public networks. You just need to have the source code of the smart contract and the contract address. Then you'll be able to interact with the smart contract, make transactions, and read data from the smart contract. So as a Web3 developer, you also need to know Web3. So smart contracts written in Solidity and Vyper are deployed. So in order for you to interact with a smart contract that's been deployed on a public network, you need to have this Web3 connection. And using web3.js, you can be able to create a Web3 connection. Of course, it requires you to have a node. And once the node is connected, you can be able to create the instance of a smart contract by having the contract ABI and the address of the smart contract. This is the JavaScript. Web3.js is the JavaScript library that will help you create this smart contract, interact with both the blockchain core information as well as information from smart contracts. So another library that looks like Web3.js is this one that I have on my screen, ethers.js. So it's just like Web3.js. They do the same thing, but they just have some differences with regards to how to employ them. So you can use them to connect to smart contracts. You can use them to draw information from the live network, like blocked information, as well as transaction information, and as well as smart contract information. You can execute smart contracts using Web3.js, and you can also read data from smart contracts using Web3.js as well as. So in order to connect to a blockchain, you need a node, an RPC node. You can either build your node or you can use services like Infura with a node, RPC node services that you can use to connect live to the. There are other node service providers like Alchemy, which provides you good RPCs for you to connect with quick node for access, which provides you with multiple RPCs to connect to multiple blocks. And DApp development also requires a Web3 provider like MetaMask, which is used to carry out and execute transactions on a smart contract. So usually when you build a DApp that has a UI, you want to provide this Web3 connection for your users to be able to interact with. And MetaMask is a good provider that's being used to solve this. So to integrate Web3, you need a programming language to do that, and Node.js is the most widely used language to integrate Web3 and as well as Python, which is also widely used. So I told you about Web3.js and ethers.js. There's also a Python version for Web3.js and ethers.js, which is known as web3.py and ethers.py. So Python developers mostly use this to interact with smart contracts that have been deployed on the blockchain. So rather than using web3.js or ethers.js, they go for web3.py and ethers.py. And using a Python script, they'll be able to set up a node, connect to a blockchain, interact with smart contracts, go back and forth and interact with the core blockchain information and read the core block. So thank you for watching the video today. I hope I've been able to introduce the relevant frameworks required for you to build decentralized applications. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, drop a comment on the comment section, share the video and subscribe. In my following videos, I'm going to be dropping tutorials on how to build smart contracts using Solidity, and we'll be using Remix mostly. We're also going to be using Hardhat, Truffle, and Foundry. So if you don't want to miss out on those, please do well to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever next we drop another video. Thank you very much.